Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys. It comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation of that message, it reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I used to be in a Pentecostal church, but after I lost my faith, this was after I had lost my job, I then started going to this other white garment church after I had been fired by my boss. So my boss and I, we used to go to the same church, but after a very big argument, because I saw that my boss, whenever it was giving time in church, he would always give huge sums of money, but when I would ask him for a basic increase on my salary, he would just tell me stories after stories. Sometimes I would go for 2 months with him just giving me money so that I can pay rent and to buy food. And I saw that this man, he was not honest. I then lost my job after an argument with him. I then started going to the white garment church, and I found a home in that church. Even right now, this is where I am still attending. So I was then told that we had to climb a mountain, but we had to do this with other church members. This was during that Easter in that same year when I stopped being a Pentecostal. When we went for that conference, the Easter conference in that mountain, I truly felt the power of God. One night when there was a prophecy that was being said, I then started prophesying alongside this other very experienced prophet, and I felt that God's power was flowing in my blood. So this thing that happened when I rose up from where I was seated, and when I started giving people prophecies alongside that very powerful prophet that had been hired from a different province, people that were like the elders of the church, they got so jealous with me. That was when I was told that the bishop had looked at me and he had looked at my situation, and he had seen that I was actually prophesying with an evil spirit, even though there was a good spirit that was in me. So the bishop had said that I was supposed to be taken by other prophets alongside every member of the church, and people were supposed to be taken to this other holy river where we were supposed to be baptized, including me. But they had gotten angry over that issue of me prophesying. They had gotten angry and jealous over that issue of me being able to give people true prophecies alongside this other so-called powerful prophet. And there were those prophets, the ones that used to go around with the bishop. They were the ones that were given the task of taking me to that holy river by this other waterfall where I was supposed to be baptized in that holy water. The night when we were supposed to go for the baptism, the night when tomorrow, so the day before when we were supposed to go for that baptism, I had a dream, and I was then told by this other prophetic spirit that I was not supposed to go to that holy river, because if I would go there, I was going to be taken by a mermaid, and this was not a holy mermaid, but the people in our church, including the bishop. On that same night as I was dreaming, that spirit said that they were actually at that same river, and what they were doing, it was something that was really evil because of the jealousness of the way that God's spirit had spoken through me. They had gone there on that same night, and they had placed a clay pot inside that water, and they were going to steal my gift if I was going to be stubborn, and if I would go with them, with the rest of the church members, to receive my baptism. They were going to collect my gift and place it inside that clay pot that they had placed by the edge of the river. But my brother, the next morning, reality set in, because I saw that if I was going to refuse, this was not going to be okay. And I was ashamed because this bishop, he had actually picked me up sort of from the streets when I was just going around, not knowing how I was going to provide for my family, and he had took me in. And as for my wife was working for the bishop's wife. And as for my wife, she was working for the bishop's wife in her shop. So I was ashamed. So my brother, I ended up joining with the rest of the church. We had this other truck that had been hired by the bishop. That is the truck that we used when we were going for the baptism. We were taken to the river, and when it was baptism time, the bishop, when I wanted to get into that holy river, the bishop stopped me from getting into the water. I was only allowed to go into the water after every member of our church that had to be baptized on that day had been baptized. The moment that I was dipped into the water, after they just said in the name of the Father, when they dipped me in the water, those two prophets that were holding me, when I was underwater, there was a voice that told me to open up my eyes, and I opened up my eyes. Just when I had opened up my eyes, I saw two mermaids that were fighting. These mermaids, they were fighting for me as if I was a prized possession. They were fighting really hard. These mermaids that were fighting, I then looked and I saw that one was like my identical twin. This mermaid, this image, it still disturbs me even up until today, because the mermaid looked exactly like me, but this mermaid was a female, not a male like me. Then out of nowhere, they came this big fish that suddenly appeared. Then this fish, it appeared when that mermaid that looked like my identical twin, when she was about to defeat that other evil mermaid that wanted to hurt me so bad. Then she was struck by the tail of that big fish that had appeared out of nowhere. She then lost her balance, and then they appeared this other hole that was spinning around and round. This hole, it just appeared from nowhere, and she was vacuumed into that spinning hole. I saw that even the river was looking as if it was being vacuumed by that hole that appeared underneath the water. From there on, then that other evil mermaid grabbed me, and I was taken down into this other world. The way that I was taken down, it was as if I had been placed into a fast elevator that was really fast. Within a couple of seconds, I saw that the whole dimension had changed. I was no longer in this world. It was like there is another earth that is inside this earth. It was just different. Everything was different. The world where I was taken, it was totally dry. There was even a different sun, not like the way our sun is. Like, it was not orange in color, but it had like sort of like a diamond color. In this place where I was taken to, I saw that the moon and the sun, they moved together side by side as if they are magically connected. Then the powers that are down there, some of them, they had strange bodies. Some of them, they had bodies that resembled us human beings, but some of them, the bodies, I do not even know how to explain what they looked like. So those beings, they came and they removed something that was so bright, it was shiny. They removed that thing that was in my stomach. That was when I realized that a person's gift, or maybe ancestors, they reside inside your stomach area. From there on, everything just disappeared. I saw myself moving upwards. Then there was just total darkness. The time that when I regained my consciousness, I had this sharp pain on my stomach. When I woke up, I then realized that people from church, they were actually hitting me in the stomach area with river scent, because I had swallowed so much water by the time that I had been taken by that evil mermaid down to wherever she had taken me to. People then said that the people from church said that a mermaid had tried to kill me, but what had happened is that I had realized that the bishop of that church had stolen my gift, and this is what he was doing. Ever since that day, my brother, I then totally lost the ability to dream. I do not even know what it means like to wake up and to say, last night I have a dream. The last time that I had a dream, the dream that I remember is that I was walking around, but I was walking around in a very dark place where I met no one. There was no sound, there was nothing. It was just total darkness. I could not even see myself. People need to be careful of who baptizes them, because in that church, the reason as to why they would place that clay pot just by the riverside in the middle of the night before the day of the baptism, they did this so as to steal people's gift at the time when they will be baptizing people in that so-called holy river. This is what they did to me, but I am still going to this white garment prophet, but I lost my gift of prophecy. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear brother, and right there was a translation of that message that he sent to me.